Thank you so much for coming in this morning. You are the department chair for the Anthropology department.
No, actually, I'm just a professor of anthropology.
Oh, okay. Oh, my bad.
Believe me, it's my pleasure to not be chair.
Really? Okay, my apologies. Been a long week for me, and I should have done a little more research on that one, but that was my bad. But you are going to tell us a little bit about what's going on in the anthropology. Tell us what you do and what you teach first, so that just we know.
Okay, I'm an archaeologist, which means I look at basically dead people.
Cool.
And I look at what dead people used to do.
Okay.
And this semester, I'm teaching a online course for Introduction to Anthropology as well as a regular one in the class. And I'm teaching what I think is a very interesting class on cultural continuity and change.
Okay. Cultural continuity. What quite does that?
Well, we're looking at patterns of how people adapted to the environment from about 15,000 years ago up to basically the present, and how that's continued, plus the alterations that have gone on in the social systems of the people.
Okay. Not to put you on the spot, but what's been one of the most interesting discoveries or finds in your studies of archaeology?
In mine, personally, actually very little, but I was very fortunate at the beginning of my career to work for an archaeologist by the name of Bill Sears.
Okay.
And we worked at a site in South Florida called Fort Center,
Okay.
which had some of the oldest wood carvings that have been found in the New World.
That's awesome.
And they were just really, really neat.
That sounds like a lot of fun.
Oh, when you're 20, it is. By the time you get to my age and you think, well, it's going to be 95 degrees out there.
No, not so much.
You want to stay in the air conditioning then.
All right. I totally understand. So what are some new things that you know about that are going on in anthropology? Some new, I guess.
Well, we're very lucky. This year we have a brand new assistant professor by the name of Carrie Ann Marden, who is a forensic anthropologist.
We've actually talked to her before.
Yes, and that's just a wonderful thing coming up for the university and for our department. And we also have Dr. Lisa Gazzone, who's on leave this semester, who's starting up a new research project in Latin America. She normally works in Africa.
Okay.
And we got a whole bunch of really, really bright, energetic students doing a wide range of things in all of the 4 fields of anthropology.
And tell us those 4 fields. I was walking the halls upstairs, as we are neighbors. You're just right upstairs. And you have the 4 formulas. Tell us about those.
Well, anthropology in the United States has been traditionally divided into 4 subfields. The biggest one, and the one that shows up in National Geographic all the time, is cultural anthropology, where they look at living people. What I do is look at people through the physical remains or artifacts, and most of that is prehistoric. But archaeologists also deal with living populations as well, so we cover the whole gamut. And then there is biological anthropology, or when I grew up it was called physical anthropology, looking at the interrelationship of cultural behavior and the human form. And that's where Dr. Marden comes in terms of her forensic interests.
Okay.
And then the smallest of the 4 fields is called linguistic anthropology. And that deals with the interplay between language, which is something that's uniquely human, and cultural behavior.
Okay. And does that linguistic, meaning language, is that the study of how things have changed in language and how cultures have interacted?
That is part of it, and linguistic anthropology is actually sort of 2 different groupings. One is pretty much descriptive, where you describe the languages and, as you said, how they change. And where it gets really interesting is when you're looking at the cultural differences between languages and within them. For instance, gender differences in language usage, or class differences in language usage. Or my favorite is regional differences of English in the United States.
Right. The study of that, I guess, is also ever-changing with the ever-changing vocabulary that the internet brings to the table, I'm sure. And then you said your concentration is more in the first field you mentioned, right?
Well, the second one, archaeology. I spend most of my research time studying people who lived about 3,000 years ago in South Georgia.
Okay.
and right now I've been looking at symbolic interaction and the development of complex societies.
That's fascinating, and because people tend to forget when you go through the history classes in the other departments, you study the changing of people and where they've gone. You forget that there was always this world just across the ocean. It's always been here, and there have always kind of been people here.
Well, that's one of the, I think, really interesting things about the archaeology in the New World, is that for almost all of the existence, it developed without European influence, and then in come the Europeans into Georgia in 1540, and inflicted huge changes on the people. And Dr. Thomas Foster, who's in our department, specializes on that contact period, especially with groups that we know today as the Creek Indians.
Okay.
And he looks at a lot of things in terms of trade between the Europeans and the Indians and all sorts of really interesting things like that.
All right, I'm intrigued to ask regarding your study, and then we'll get back to more of the department overall. The people that came, the people that were here in those 3,000 years ago, is it true that they came in through, like, I guess the Bering Strait and migrated to the eastern seaboard of the New World?
Well, actually, that's a really good question, because most of the data points towards that.
Right.
With people coming over in probably several different groupings 15,000 years ago. But back in the 1950s, 1960s, some folks proposed what they called the Solutrean hypothesis.
Okay.
And Solutrean is a cultural system in Western Europe. And they suggested that we had people migrating into North America up through the ice cap areas and down the East Coast. But that very much disappeared from most interpretations. And in the last couple of years, especially coming out of the Smithsonian Institution, has been the reintroduction of the Solutrean hypothesis. And I was reading something about this just the other day, where they found French made artifacts, and they've been able to source the flint, and it is from France. And they are Solutrean period points have been found off the coast of, I think it's Virginia. So there's a lot of new interest in this European migration patterns. But again, most of the data is pointing towards Asia right now.
Okay. So, because I've always thought that what kept them from migrating across those particular pieces of land just as easy as they did then. So.
Yeah, and it'd be basically the same dynamics, because they're having to come across ice caps. And so you have to have cultures that are adapted to the extreme cold environment and the hunting patterns. And both of them are really iffy, because, it was hard to do.
On both ends of the spectrum there.
Right.
So to get back a little bit to the anthropology department as a whole, you mentioned the lab, the new forensics lab, that should open officially in the fall for students, or is it already open?
It's already open.
Okay.
Dr. Martin is teaching a class over there this semester,
Cool.
and she's really hoping to get forensics cases starting to come in.
All right, that's cool. Yeah, we talked about she wanted to start working with the community and helping them and teach students both at the same time. So
right.
It sounds good. Other changes besides that going on in Anthro?
Curriculum-wise, we're developing some new courses. We're recruiting a replacement for me, which is...
no.
Yes, I'm leaving.
Oh, no.
Yes. And we hope to be getting in a really bright new PhD from Texas A&M at this point.
Okay, cool.
I can't give you her name right now,
Of
because
course.
everything's up in the air. But that'll be bringing in a very new direction, because she deals with Paleo-Indian, these first people in the New World.
Okay.
And that'll be and we've never had anyone in the history of the Anthropology Department of West Georgia
that did that.
who dealt with that. Yeah.
Okay. And there's a lot of good historical stuff in Georgia that students can actually go to and experience here, being that you're on the East Coast.
Oh, certainly. Georgia and the southeastern United States is really one of the great areas to study archaeology, because we've had people here from the very beginning, literally up to European contact and through European contact.
Right.
And we were also the focus of some very elaborate prehistoric cultures. And The state.
I don't even think that far back sometimes because I always get lost in that European contact point.
Right. And the state has been very, very good about developing parks and historic sites that feature these, as well as the federal government. So just a little bit north of here in Cartersville, there's the Etowah site.
Yeah, that's my favorite site to go to is the Etowah Indian Mountains.
Right.
Fun times there.
Oh, it's great. The museum there is wonderful, and just don't go in the middle of the summer.
No, don't do that.
And then if you go down to Macon, about 130 miles away, there's the Okmulgee Mounds, which the federal government controls, and they're even bigger than Etowah. And
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I did not know that.
And
Road trip.
road trip, and there's some really good hot dog stands down there.
Oh,
And,
okay, good to know.
And then if you really want to go down into deep South Georgia, there's the Kolomoki site down in Blakely, which is a very large site where I worked in that area. I've never worked at the site itself.
Okay.
And it's got a mound that's even bigger than the one at Etowah.
Okay. So you mentioned that you'll be leaving. You're going into retirement, as they say.
On March 4th, yes.
March 4th. Oh, wow. So it's even
No, I'm sorry, May 4th.
May 4th. I was like, wait,
Hey.
you're retired. May 4th. May 4th. So the last day of classes and everything.
That's it.
All right. Well, I definitely appreciate your time here, telling us all about the anthropology, the new changes,
It's been my pleasure.
and a lot of interesting, cool things. I'd love to pick your mind again sometime before you go.
And just let me throw in a little bit of recruitment here.
Sure, go for it.
We have a very good group of students, very active, and we're very fortunate that we have an endowed program.
Okay.
And we have scholarships for our students that are not available to any other students in the nation, really. And my favorite part of the endowment is once a year we bring in internationally known anthropologists to work with the students and to give public
Okay.
lectures.
Okay.
And our Wearing lecture series is just an incredible asset to the university.
Okay. Wow. Anytime we got scholarships out there for students to take that are definitely even remotely interested in anthropology, that's good to know. They can make those decisions based on that.
And some of them are for incoming majors. We've given them to high school students, and
Okay.
those are $2,000 a year.
Oh, wow. Okay. So if you're looking to, anthropology, travel the world, I guess, if that was something, you're into archaeology or any of the 4 fields of anthropology, you got opportunities to go for free, basically.
We even have some funds to help students do foreign travel.
Even better.
There you go.
That's awesome. Anything else there that you needed to mention about the recruitment to help?
We're having a chili cook-off at 12:30, and you're invited.
I
Today?
will be there.
And since I'm the reigning chili meister of the department, I think that I'm going to repeat again this year.
Really?
Okay.
I did not know this.
Well, come on up, 12:30.
All right.
I will be there.
That sounds good. Again, appreciate your time here, and I hope everything goes well. Hope you remain the reigning chili meister.
Thank you. I don't think there's any question of that.
Oh, okay. That's awesome. And we'll look forward to talk with you more.
Okay, again, thank you very much.
Thank you. We'll take a break. When we come back, we're going to do some YouTube Thursdays. I promise we'll talk about 10 things every woman should probably throw away.
Hopefully there's one for, like-
some of the 10 items that women keep that they should probably just let go.
Is there a list for guys about that?
I don't know. We'll find something, I guess.
AskMen.com.
Probably not. Guys don't actually keep stuff.
Really, Sean?
Then he's like,
You lie.
I lie. All right. We talked about it in the entertainment. Here's fun featuring Janelle Monáe. We Are Young.